Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn how we can integrate Stripe payment integration into your Django project. So for this video, I've created a small donation app right here. So here we have various donation where we can donate. So if you pick any one of your choice, if a user pick any donation of your choice, let's say this free education, we go to this confirm donation page and then we can click on proceed to payments where this will lead us to our Stripe checkout session. So I click on proceed to payments. So I'm being redirected to the Stripe checkout session page, which is currently loading now. So here I can input my email and here I will use Stripe card information, the test card, which is 42424242. This is a test card and the year, let's say 12/30, the expiry date, the CVC 123, the card name is a test. Let me post my name and then if I click on pay. So here on the success payments, no thanks. If the payment is successful, I'm going to be redirected to my success page. So the payment is still loading. So now the payment is successful and I'm being redirected to my success page, and here it says, well, payment successful and thank you for your payment. That's now immediately your transaction was successful. And also, aside from this, I'm also receiving Stripe Webhook events. So here, this is the Stripe Webhook API that sends me the event of what just happened. So the amount captured, the name, and every information about the person is being sent through Stripe Webhook event. Please support this channel by liking this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video. So let's get straight into the video. To start this project, I'm going to come to my Visual Studio Code now, and here I'll go to my terminal and I'll create a new terminal. So in this my terminal, I want to start a new Django project. So the first thing I want to do is to activate my virtual environment. So I'll run the command python-m, so then env. So this is just to activate my virtual environment. So I'm going to wait for some couple of seconds for the virtual environment to be fully activated, to be fully created. So I've created my virtual environment now. So the next thing is for me to activate it. So I'm going to run this command env/scripts/activate.ps1. So this is how you activate command line. I've currently activated my virtual environment now. So the next thing is to install Django. So I'm going to say pip install Django. So we are currently installing Django. So now we have successfully installed Django. The next thing is to start our Django project. So I'm going to run the command Django admin start project. Django admin start project, and I'm going to call the project, let's say Stripe _ payments, and I'll put period. So to indicate that I want it to start the project in the current directory. So Django admin start project Stripe payment. We have currently created, so this is the project here, Stripe payment. So the next thing I want to do is python manage.py. I want to start the app. I'll say python manage.py start app, and let's call this app payment. Python manage.py start app payment. So this is the app right here, payment. So the next thing I want to do now is to run migration so that our database, we can create our database. So python manage.py migrate, and then I can run server, python manage.py run server. So these are just the prerequisites before starting the project. So now if I click on this, so here it shows that our installation works successfully. We have this Django welcome test page here. So let's continue with our configuration now. So the next thing I want to do is that let's just do our basic configuration. So in this payment, I'm going to create a new file, and this file is going to be urls.py. Then in these settings, first thing first, let me reduce this. Then in these settings here, in my installed apps, I'm going to add the app that we created, which is payment. And also in my urls.py right here. So here I'm going to put include, then I'll create a new path. So this part, let's call it an empty part, an empty string, and I'll say include, which is payments, the new URL that we created before, payments.urls. So that's our basic configuration. Now I'm going to go to my views.py here just to create a simple view. So let's just say define, let's say home. So this is just a test view. So I'll say request, and I'll say return HTTP response, and let's say hello world. So these are the things that I do before anytime I create a project, just to test all configuration. So we need to import this HTTP response. So here HTTP import HTTP response. Then in this our urls.py, what do we need to do? First, path. So let's say import path. So from django.urls import path and URL patterns. So the view that we created before, which is the home view, so I'm going to say from .views import home, and here I'll just say paths, let's say an empty string, and I'll call home. So if everything works well, if I go back to my browser, I should see hello world displayed. So let me go back to my browser to check, and if I refresh this, I have this hello world. So all our configuration works well. So let's go back and start our Stripe payment integration project. The next thing we need to do is to create our API keys, our Stripe API keys. So what can we do? So you go back to your browser, head to Stripe login, or let's say just go to Stripe dashboard. So click on Stripe dashboard and search it on your browser. So you will be required to log in first to sign into your Stripe dashboard. So if you already have an account with Stripe, you can just log in directly. But if you don't have an account, you can just create an account. You need to Stripe create an account. So I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in to my Stripe account, to my Stripe dashboard. So if I click on sign in, so if you don't have an account, please create an account, please do. But if you already have an account, just log into your Stripe dashboard. So it's currently logging me in right now. If you have logged in successfully, you should have your dashboard displayed, although you may not have any transaction. This is because I already have a Stripe account that I've used for some transactions, the test transactions before. So now what we want to do now is actually to get our Stripe public key and our secret key. So now to get your public key, if you don't see it right here, your publishable key and your secret key, you can just come to these developers and here click on API keys, and after that you should see your publishable key and your secret key. So just click and copy both. So here I'm going to use my Windows clipboard to click and copy the two of them at the same time. So after I've copied it, I'm going to go back to my code now. So here I will close this, and I'm going to close this. I will close this. I'll leave this settings.py here. So in my settings.py, so the next thing I want to do is that I want to put my public key and my private key in my settings.py. So how can I do that? If I say Stripe, I will say Stripe underscore public underscore key, and I'll paste it inside a string like this. So let's say my public key, okay, this pk is my public key, and also I'll say Stripe, all in caps lock, Stripe underscore secret underscore key, and also I'll put it in a string and I'll paste my secret key right there. But this is actually not really advisable to put your public and your secret key live like this for everyone to see. The best way is to hide it. And how can we hide our important keys like this? So the way we can do that is by creating a new file. So let's say I'll create a new file which is .env. I'll call this file .env like this. And inside this file, I can just say, let's say my public key, public underscore key, I'll put is equal to, then paste my public key inside. Where's my public key? So I'm going to paste my, let me copy it from here. So here, this is my public key, right? I'll just copy from here. I'll not copy this colon, the string. I'll just copy the key actually and paste it here. And also for my secret key, secret underscore key, I'll go and copy it from my settings again. Let's say from here, and I'll paste it inside. Let me copy and I'll paste it right here, exactly like this. So now, since I've put it here, so how can I hide it from here? So here, first thing I'll say import OS. Then instead of having this direct public key outside like this, it's not going to be like this. Let me delete this. So and here I'll just say os.getEnv like this. Then I'll call the name that I want to give it. Let's say stripe underscore public underscore key. Then the name of the variable that we have here, which is, what do we give it? Public underscore key. So here I'll just give it public underscore key. And also I'll do the same thing for this place. So os.getEnv. Then here is going to be stripe underscore secret underscore key. And also the value is going to be the name of this variable that we have here, which is secret key. So here I'll just put it right here, secret underscore key. So now we are done with our public key and our private key. So this is how we can do it in our settings.py. So the next thing is to work on our models now. So before going to work on our models, the next thing is to install Stripe in our project. So here I'm going to cut this running terminal. So here I'll say pip install Stripe. So we have to install Stripe in our Django app. So pip install Stripe, and it's currently installing. So it's currently installing. So Stripe is currently installing our project, and this is still installing. Is installing collected packages, some other packages, that's adjoining packages. So Stripe has already been installed. So the next thing we want to do now, let's work on our payments here. So I'll go to my models.py and I will close this. I don't need this yet, and let me remove this sidebar. Let me close this sidebar. So here the first thing we want to do is we need to create our donation model. So I'll say class donation like this, donation, then models.model, sorry. So the first thing is the title, which is models.char field, and it's going to be max length. The max length is going to be, let's say, 255. The next thing is the amount of the donation, which is going to be models. The amount is going to be a decimal field, model.decimal field, and we are going to have the max digits. It should not be more than 10. So the max digits, and let's say decimal places should be two decimal places. And also the next thing is our image URL for our donation. So I'll just say models.char field. Let's say max length is 2025. You know, image URL are always long. The next thing we need is our description. Let's say description. I'll say models.text field, and blank, let's say is true, and null is not necessary. So I can say, even if you did not put it, null should be also true. So then we need our description, the dates that we create. Let's say created at, and I'll say date time field, and auto now add, so it's true. What else do we need? So I'm going to define our string. Let's say define str like this. Then I'll say return self dot title. So this is our donation model. The next thing is our payment model. So here I'll say class again, payment, and it's going to be models dot model also. Here the title, no, we don't need the title now. So we want to use foreign key. We need to link this donation model to this payment model. How can we do that? So I'm going to call a variable like donation, and I'm going to use foreign key to link them together. So models dot foreign key is going to be, now this foreign key, where am I linking it to? I'm linking it to this donation. So here I'll put donation right here, and on delete models dot cascade, models dot cascade, like that. Now the next thing we need in our payment model is the customer name. So the customer name is going to be models dot char field, which is going to be max length, let's say 255 also. Then what else do we need? The customer email, customer underscore email, and the models is going to be models dot email field, and the max length is also 255 probably. Then what do we need also? We need the customer, we need the amount actually. So I'll say amount is equal to models dot decimal field, then max digits is going to be 10, and default, let's add the default. So default is going to be, let's say USD, like US dollars, like this. Then what else do we need? We need there's not supposed to be default here, is decimal field. So max digits 10 and decimal places should be 2. Decimal places 2. Then the currency, so models dot the currency models dot char field, the max length should be, let's say 255, and default, this is what's going to have that default, that is US dollars. Then what else do we need? We need payment underscore intents underscore ID. This for our Stripe payment intent. So the ID is going to be models dot char field also, and we are going to have max length to be 255. Let's say unique should be true, and let's say default should just be an empty string. Then okay, we don't need to put default, unique should be true. Then the next thing we want is like the status, if it is completed or not. So the status, we are going to have models dot char field also, and the max length, let's say 50. Default should be default should be pending. So the next thing, the date we created underscore art is going to be models dot date time field, and auto now add is going to be true. True. So the next thing, we are going to return define string like this, and we are going to return something like this. Let's say a string like this. Then we are going to call the self dot customer underscore name, and also self dot amount, then self dot the currency, and the status, self dot status. So that will be all for our models. So the next thing we want to do now is to make migrations and migrate. So I'm going to come to my terminal here. I'll say Python. So here, say Python manage dot py make migrations. So we have created both model donation and payments, and I'll say Python manage dot py migrate. So then I'll run my server Python manage dot py run server. So everything works well. So what next? Now the next thing we want to do now is to start creating our views. So here I'm going to go to my views.py right here, and I'll remove this. So this home request that we did before was just for a test, so we don't need it. So now I'm going to start my first view, which is the donations. So it's going to be a request as usual. And also, so now what do I need? I need to, for my donations, I'll say donation, which is the model, donations dot objects dot all, like this, to get all donation. So from I'll say from dot models import donation, like that. Now the next thing, I will return render is going to be a request and our donations.html. So I have to create a template for this, and I'll pass in the argument, which is, let's say, donations and donations, like this. So now what do I need to do? I'll come here, and inside this payment app, I'll create a new directory or a new folder. I'll call it templates. So here I'll create a new file, and I'll call it donations.html. So in this donations.html page right now, the first thing I want to do is to get my, what's it called, my basic HTML tags. So I'll change this Django template to like normal HTML, and I will write like an exclamation mark like this, press tab. I have this basic HTML block, let's say code. So here, let's just call it the title, let's say donations. And here inside these donations, the next thing I want to do, I'm going to be using some CSS and some bootstrap. So for our bootstrap, let's say, let me go back to my Chrome. Here I'm going to go to bootstrap 5. Okay, let me just say bootstrap. So we should go. So I'll come here. So what I just need to copy is actually this. I only need this. So I'll copy this, my bootstrap CDN, this CDN, just the CSS only. So I'm going to copy this and go back to my code. So in this link, I'll paste it right here. So I'm going to paste that link right here. So after that, I'm just going to come to this, my body. Then what do we need? I'll create a new div. So inside this div, I'll have a h3, like an h3. So this h3 is going to take our title. Let me say title first. Then the next one is going to be p tag, which is going to take our amount. So let's say dollar. Let me just put $400, something like that first. Then I'm going to have an image img. So the source, let me just leave it like this first. And then what else do we need? I'm going to have, let's say, an a tag, let's say a reference, and it's going to be like this. And now here is going to be, let's say, donates, something like this. And is it so something like this. So after that, what else do we need? I think that will be all. So now we just need to design all this a little bit. So here I'm going to give it class is going to be, let's say, donation card. Then h3 I'm going to give it a class name. Okay, it doesn't need a class name. And also I think that will be all. So there will still be some small designs, but first, before we continue, let us create these views. Let us import these views in our urls.py. So in my urls.py in payments, so we have deleted this home. So what we now have is donations. So here I'll just say donations. The next thing we want to do is that if we go to our donation, for example, if I go back to the browser now, so and I come back here, we are just going to see that basic page that we create. Let me remove this. So we just have title $400 donate. So actually we are not getting the data from our database yet. Why? So because we have not really posted anything in our database. So I'm going to go back to the code now. So here I'll break this and I'll say I'll create a super user. Python manage.py create super user. Now, so username I'm going to leave it blank. My email I'll just put like my email address here, and password just give it a password. Now password again, I'll give it my password. Yes. So after this, the next thing is that let me register inside the, we have two models actually. We have this donation and this payment model. So I'll register both in this my admin.py. So here I'm going to say from .models import donations and payments like this. So and here I'll just say admin.site.register and I'll pass in donations and also admin.site.register also, which is payment. After that, I'll come back to my terminal and I'll run server. So python manage.py run server. So our server, okay, there is a problem. Okay, we don't have, what we have is donation, not donation. See, so it's donation, not donation. So I'll just remove the S right here, and I'm going to remove the S right here as well. So if you reload, everything is working well. I'll go back to my browser and I'll say /admin. So log in with the username and the password that you use. So username is just user, the password that I use, I will log in with the password and log in. So now here in this donation, I just want to post a donation. So I'll say add donation. So I don't know, add donation. Here the title, let's say the first one, World Health Organization, let's say amount, let's say 1000. The image URL, let me just go back and just search who charity, and let's also copy an image. I'm looking for my preferred image, so let me just say, let's copy this, or let me just change it. Let's say charity images. So let's work with this. Let's just say we want to, I'll copy this image address right here that we have here. So it's loading. So I'll just do copy image address or copy link address. Okay, then yeah, right here, let's say copy image address. So inside this image address, I'll come back to my admin page and I'll paste it right here. So this description doesn't really matter yet. So let me add another one. So this one, let's say um free education, free education, like this. And yeah, let me just look for an image relating to education, free education charity. So I'm just going to add some image. So I'm just going to, let me say charity images. Let me just add images right here. So if I can see the one that I like. So I'm just going to pick anyone that I want from this and I'll paste it there. So you to just pick any image. The image doesn't matter. So I've pasted one. Let's see the amount. Let's say this is 200 and let me save this. So I think this two is enough for now. And let me just, so let's say it's enough for now. So I'm going to remove this and here I'm going to go back to my home page right here. So sorry, let me remove this admin/admin. So now I'm back at my home page. So what I want to do now is I want to look through our database. So I'll go back to my code now. So we don't need this. I'll go to my donations.html. So right here I will say, okay, let me change this back to Django HTML, Django templates. So here I'm now going to say for donation, in donation, we passed this donation as a context in our views before. So and after the end of the div I'll say end for. So here is going to be end for. So here, sorry, so right here I'm going to say in this title is going to be donation dot title, and here is going to be this price is going to be donation dot amount, like this. Then this image source is going to be donation dot img underscore url, like this. And this alternate you can just say donation image, let's say donation image, and that's all. So this reference, let's just leave it like this first. So now let me go back to the browser and see if we are having, okay, that shows that something is wrong since we are not having what we are supposed to have. So I will go back to my code now. So for, oh sorry, we're having donation. So yeah, this same, I didn't write this way, so donations, like this. So if save this and go back to the code and refresh. So now yeah, so we are looping from our database. Now we have this first one, World Health Organization, the second one, free education, but it's not, there's no design actually. So let's just write some basic CSS code just to make it better. So I'll go back to my code now. I'm going to reduce this. So in this head tag, so here let's just say I'm going to write the style and style tag again. To make my work easier, let me just change this Django template to normal HTML back. Then here inside the style tag, the first one is the body. Now in this body, let's say the font family should be Arial, not this one. Okay, yeah, this. Then the next one, text align should be center, everything should be center. Then after the body, now our donation card, the donation card, let's say border should be 1 pixel solid. I'm going to use this color D like this like creamy color. Or then I'm going to say padding should be 2 pixel, rather 20 pixel rather. Then after the padding 20 pixel, I also need margin, which is, let's say, 10 pixel, and display should be inline block, not just a line, and the width should be 200 pixel. Then after that, let's say the donation card and A, want to get the reference A tag that is there. Now before the A, I don't know, my man is just pressing this. So let's say the h3 first. So the h3 tag is going to be, margin is going to be 0. Then let's just see what we have now. Let me go back to the browser first and refresh. Yeah, so everything is aligned to the center now. So I'm going to go out to the code now. So here, the reason, there's something that is not here. You see again, I didn't write it where I'm writing donation, so it should be donation card. Sorry, I was typing fast. So now let me go back to the code and check if, yeah, so this card, we already have this card now, but we have not really handled this image. So I'll go back to the code now. So here, after this donation card h3, let's undo the p tag. We have handled this h3 tag. Let's undo this p tag. So I'm going to say dot donation card and p. So this one, the color should be gray. Then after that, let us undo our a tag, donation card and the a tag. So the text decoration, we don't want it to be that decoration. We don't want any decoration, so it should be none. Then the background color, the background should be hashtag, I want to use this color 007BFF, something like that, blue color like that. And the color should be, let's say, white. Now at the same time, we want the padding 10 pixel from up and bottom, and border radius should be 5 pixel, and let's say display inline block like that. So if I save and see what we have on our browser, let us refresh. So but there's one problem that we are not handling yet. This image, they are not sized very well. So how can we do that? So I'll just go back to the code now. So in this place, this image, I'm just going to give width should be 200 pixel right here. So if I go back here and refresh, so we have this, but there's still some, we can still do some adjustments. So I'll go back to the code now. So here in this body, before this part, we should have something like, let's say an h1 tag, and select a donation. So, and after that, I don't think we don't need this. We will still need this link later in this video, but not now. Let me comment it out first. And yeah, I think it should be 200 alone like this, not 200 pixel, or it can still be 200 pixel. So let's go back to our browser now and refresh. So we already have it like this, so it's already okay, although this donate is not linking anywhere first, but I think our card is working pretty well now. Now what is the next thing that we want to do? So let us work on our confirmation page. So I'm going to go back to my code now, and then I'll go back to my views.py. So now we are done with this donation. So the next view that we need to define is going to be, the next view is going to be the checkout view. So I'm going to say define checkout. It's going to be request like this, and then the same time we are going to get donation. Let's say donation like this, but what we are going to use is like get. First let me import it up here, so let me write it get object of 404. So from Django the shortcut import get object of 404, so I'm going to call it here get object of 404 what the donation model. Now anytime we use this, we have to give it an ID, either an ID or primary key. So I'm just going to pass in like donation underscore ID here, and I'll pass in it here to donation underscore ID. I'll say ID is equal to donation underscore ID. Then the next thing I'll say return render, and the same way it's going to be a request. Now here is going to be checkout.html, and also let's say donation and donation like this. So after that, what else do we need to do? So the same way we need to create this checkout.html page. So in this my views, in this my templates, I'll create another file, and it's going to be checkout.html. Now the same way I'll change this Django template to like normal HTML, and I'll just get my basic HTML block tag. So next thing is to like design this checkout.html page a little bit. So first here I'm going to remove it. It's not going, I'll change the title. It's going to be, let's say checkout, and I'll put like secure payment, something like this right here. And also yeah, let's change this like secure payment. So now what are we going to have in our body? First is going to be, let's say a div. Let me say div.container like this. Then also I'm going to have another div inside that. Let's say checkout container. So and also what else do I need? Let's say a center tag. Then I'll have my image source, which is going to be donation.img underscore URL. Now what the next thing we are going to need, let's say our h3 tag. Then we are going to need a p tag also, and also an h4 tag. Now inside this h3 tag, that is where we are going to have something like confirm your donation, and here let's give it class. It's going to be text center. Then the next one, in this p tag, in this p tag, what we have inside should be, let's say something like you are about to donate. Then let me give it a class. The class should be, let's say text center and text muted. We are still going to use all these classes later when we are designing it. So the next one that we have, let's say this h4, and what we have the h4 will contain the amount in dollars. So I say amount, I will say donation dot amount, and here is going to have a class as well. Now text center and also text primary like this. Then what else do we need? So here, after this checkout section, there's going to be a button for like confirm or continue to proceed to payment. So that button is going to be under a form method. Is going to be post like this, a capital letter. Then Although we have not done this, we are still going to, let me just comment this first, so before we come back to that. So let's just design what we have here a little bit. So let me put, okay, Ctrl Z first. So here, let's just put our button inside. So the button is going to be proceed to payment. The class is going to be btn, let's say btn pay, and also the weight is going to be 100. It's not going to only have class, the type should be button. Let's say type is going to be button, and also let's give it an ID. It's going to be, we are still going to use it later, so checkout button, like this. Then the next thing is to just design it first. Okay, first, before we continue, just to see what we are doing, let me go back to my views. We have this checkout.html. Let's go back to our URLs and add this inside checkout. Now here I'm going to give it a name, which is going to be name, let's say donations. Then after that, we are going to have another path here, and this path is going to be slash checkouts, and here we are going to call this checkouts that we have here, and let me give it a name also. I'll give it this name to be checkout, like this. So in the, if I go back to my donations.html, in this a reference, I'll just say put double percentage like this, and I'll say URL, and I'll call that checkout. The name we give it, then donation, I'll call it donation underscore ID. It's not donation underscore ID, it should be donation dot ID, like this. You know, we gave it an ID in this view, ID, so it's donation dot ID. So we are in this donations.html. So another thing is that in this urls.py, it's not going to just be slash checkout, since we are having like this part is going to have like more than one item, since we have more than one donation. So how to get each unique checkout, we are going to just say slash, let's say something like integer, then donation underscore ID, like. So if I go back to my browser now, and if I refresh and click on this here, so now we are having each donation, and if I come back and click on this, I have this one, confirm your donation, you're about to donate $200, proceed to payment. So now the next thing we want to do now is to design our page very well. So let's go back and do that right away. Now I'm going to go back to this checkout.html, and in our head tag, I will create a style tag like this, style, and let's say style. So the first one, let's say the body first. So in this body, we are going to give it a background color of, let's say, hashtag f, this color f8 f9 fa, like this. Then f8 f9 f8, that color. Then the next one, we are going to undo our, what's it called, our dot checkout container. Now in this checkout container, so the first one, the max width, the maximum width is going to be 500 pixel, and also we are going to give it a margin or 60 pixel auto, like this. Then a padding of 30 pixel, and also background should be white. We are also going to give the border radius to be 10 pixel and a box shadow. So this box shadow is going to be 0, 4 pixel, 8 pixel, 0, sorry, 0, 4 pixel, 8 pixel, RGBA, and we are going to have the first color is going to be 0, 0. Next color also is going to be 0, 0, and the last one 0.1. So let me move this from brackets like this. So after our checkout container, the next thing we want to undo is the btn pay, our button. So the background is going to be this color, hashtag 007BFF, like this. Then the color is going to be white. The font size is going to be 18 pixel, and the font weight is going to be, let's say, bold. Then we are going to give it a transition 0.3 seconds ease, like that. So now the next one that we want to do, if they over the button, or let's just see what we have. I'm going to go back to the browser, refresh this page. Oh, nothing except this one. That means something is not right currently. So let's go back and see what did we not do right. So yeah, div class checkout container, we will call it well. Oh, here, this is the problem here. So container, then btn pay. Okay, that one is working. Let me go back now and see and refresh our page. Yeah, so we have this right here. So let's continue. We will still work on our, what's it called, this tag, our h3 tag and other tags that are there as well, and this image. So first, I'm going to go back to my browser here, .btn pay hover. If they hover it, you should change the background to, let's say, hashtag 0056p3, like that. Now the next thing I want to do is that I want to link our bootstrap back to this page. We need our bootstrap CDN in this page. So we copied it here and we didn't use it. So now we'll actually use it now. So I'm just going to copy this and go into our checkouts.html and paste it here. Then I'll save. So now with this bootstrap class, this div class container, please correct that, and all this class test center, all these things, they are bootstrap classes. With this now, they will work well with it. So if I go back to my browser and refresh, you see everything works absolutely fine except this image. Therefore, there's something that are supposed to add to this image that we have not had, a bootstrap class. So I'm just going to go back to my code now. In this image, where is it? Image, where are you? Okay, right here. I'll say class image img fluid, like this. So with this bootstrap class now, I'll come back here, refresh, everything is working well. So now we are done. In a way, we are done with this. So now is proceed to payment. Let us make it work. This is where the work is now is. This is what we actually come here for. The checkout, the the Stripe checkout session. So actually, to handle Stripe checkout section, let us go back to our Stripe documentation, Stripe docs. Just search Stripe docs on your browser and go into Stripe documentation. So there are various ways of handling payments on Stripe, but there is one precise one that we want to use in this project. So if you come to this payment in your Stripe documentation, so payment, You see there are different accept online payments, create subscription, receive payouts, different one. But the one that we're actually working on is this accept online payments that we want to work on. Accept online payments. So in this Stripe documentation, this is actually what we are trying to do. Although this is like this is in Django. Although select HTML and Python, but I'm taking this code right here is what's it called? Flask. It's not Django. But this is basically what we are trying to do. If you click on the checkout session, we are going to get like we are going to be redirected to Stripe checkout session, Stripe custom checkout session page. So something like this. So this is what I want to implement in our app. Something like what we just from that side. We have our image attachment here and everything, something like this. But this is from the Stripe documentation. So we want to implement this what we have here into this place. So if we click on proceed to payment, it should move us, it should redirect us to something like this where we will get the like the title, the amount, the image, and we'll pay with our details from here. So one way we can do that is by there are different methods, but the method I'm going to use in this project is going to be simple, and I'm going to break it down so that you understand it clearly. So I'm going to go back to my code now. So now here I'm going to we don't I will still need this checkout.html. I don't need this right now. I don't need this again, and this URL I'll need this here. So in this views.py, we want to create another views now. So let's say this view, I'll call it define create checkout session like this, and I'll call our request just like how we normally do. So the first thing is to get the donation. So I'll say donation like this without the s, then get object of 404. So I'll get my donation, the donation model. So this model, that's what I'm getting here. So then I'll give it an ID. I'll say donation underscore ID. So if you do like that, you have to pass in the donation underscore ID in your request like that. So now the next thing we want to do, so if we go back to let's say, let me go back to my browser. I want to show you in this what's it called, in this documentation, Stripe documentation. It's still loading. Yeah, if you see after that right here, we are just trying to, in your create section, we are going to try this like checkout session, then we will list everything we need inside. So and we are going to, anytime you use try, we are going to try and catch some errors and some exceptions. So what they have here is just basically what I want to do in my code, but in another different and refined manner. So I'll go back to the code now. So we are going to try session. We are going to try to create a checkout session now. So I'll say session is equal to, we have installed Stripe before, so I'll call Stripe checkout, Stripe dot checkout dot session dot create like this. Now you see it's underlining this for us, so then I have to import Stripe right here. So import Stripe like this. Now the next thing I want to do now, so if you say try, let me just put an exception there so that it will not give us this error that we are having there. Let's put except. So first, in this create session that we have here, so the first thing we want to get from there is the payment method, payment underscore method, which is payment underscore method underscore type. The payment method types, which is the one that we have, the one we want to use is card from there are different payment methods, maybe bank transfer, different one, but the one we actually want to use is card. Then I'll put comma like this. Then I want to get the customer email, customer underscore email is equal to, let's say, okay, I don't want to get the customer email. yet now. So after this, I'll say list line underscore items is equal to a list, an array like this. Then the next thing, that the first one that I want to do is price underscore data like this. Then it's going to be an object like what we have here. The currency is going to be the US dollars. It's going to be the USD. And also now the product data, now that's what I want to get. The product data is going to be another object entirely. Product underscore data is going to be another object, and in this product data I'm going to get the name, which is donation, from this donation that we have here. So I'll just say donation.title, donation.title. Then the next one, I want to get the images, the image of from our donation. So I'll say donation.img underscore URL like that. Now the next thing that we want to collect is donation.emg underscore URL. Now we have gotten our product data like that. Now the next one is going to be under this price data, is going to be the unit amount like this. The unit amount, which is going to be an integer. What we have, we are getting the decimal value, so we change it to integer. Then donation dot amount times 100. Now this times 100 is converting, we are actually converting, is in like $100, we are converting it to cents. 100 cents make $1, because Stripe handle payments using the barest like minimum, which is cents. So we are converting, this is just to convert it to cents like this. So after that, the next thing that we want to do, so it's going to be, let's say after here we are going to have, let's say, quantity, which is 1 like this. So then after all this, we are going to use our mode, which is, our mode is payment like this. And after the mode, now these are where everything is going to get interesting. The success URL is going to be, we are going to use this string method. So it will be http://localhost 8000. Python Django localhost is 8000. Apart from that 1.2, this 1.27.00 is just your own like localhost, and the 8000 is like Django localhost. So then /payment success, something like this, and we are going to give it session underscore ID is going to be checkout underscore session underscore ID like this, and donation underscore ID is going to be donation.id. Here it should be double braces like this, like what we have here. Then the next one is going to be the cancel URL, cancel underscore URL, which is going to be http:// let's say localhost 8000 / payments failed like this. Then after that, the next thing we want to do, we want to return a JSON response. So we are going to return a JSON response, and inside this JSON response, let's say checkout underscore URL, and it's going to be session underscore URL. So here, this JSON response, we have to import it up here. So I'm just going to import JSON response from Django.http import JSON response. You don't need to worry about the complexity of this checkout session. It's just like is a procedure that you just have to follow, and different people do it differently, but I prefer to do it mine like this. So now this exception, we are just trying to try this. So if everything is successful, that's when this will work. But what if it's not, like if we catch some error? So except if we have like Stripe, except Stripe.error, but before that, I think is this place is underlining that there's an error here. So the error is because I need to add like a curly braces here because it's JSON. JSON is, it returns everything as an object. So, and here is not session underscore URL, it's session.url like this. So the next thing, if you look at this success URL, you don't need to look at the complexity of this success URL. This is our local host and slash payment success, our payment success page. And all these ones are just like to get the donation ID and the session ID for a particular payment. But if you are working, let's say you are working on, if you are hosting your project or you are working on another domain, here should be the domain of your, like this local host slash 8000. Let's say you are working, you have hosted it, here should be your domain actually. We are working locally, that's the reason why our domain is localhost slash 8000 and localhost slash this also. So now, except, let's get our exception now. So except stripe.error stripe error as e, like this. So then we are going to return a JSON response as an object like this. I'll say an error, then we are going to stringify, let's say string e like this, then the status should be 400. So that is all for our create checkout session. The next thing we need to pay attention to image URL. Let me remove this I. It's image underscore URL. So now let's just quickly work on the payment success. We have this payment success here. So let's just quickly define the view for payment success. So define payment underscore success. Then I'll call a request as well. I'll call a request like this as well. Then here in this, I'm going to get our session ID. Session underscore ID is going to be, sorry, the reason why, let me remove it. Yes, so these are supposed to be, Django uses indentation, so if you not indent it very well, it might cause some errors. So now here in this session ID, now we are going to use request.get like this. So what are we getting? We want to get our session underscore ID. Then also we need the donation underscore ID, this donation underscore ID that we have there. So we are also going to use request.get and also we'll pass in donation underscore ID. So after that, if not session underscore ID or not donation underscore ID, then you should return a JSON response as error like this, invalid session. Then anytime the error code should be, the status should be, let's say 400, like that. Then after that, we are going to try something else again. So we are going to try the session. We say session should be equal to stripe dot checkout dot session dot retrieve. What are we retrieving? Our session ID. Then donation should be, then we use our get object of 404, the donation model, and don ID is equal to donation underscore ID, like that. So after that, I want to get the customer email here. So here I'll say customer underscore email is equal to session dot customer underscore email, or session dot customer underscore details dot get email, like this, dot get email, and then there's going to be an empty string at the end, like this. So after that, we are going to get the customer name also. Customer name should be session dot customer underscore email, sorry, customer underscore details dot name, like that. And after that, we are going to say if session dot payment underscore status is equal to, let's say, paid, like this, then we want to save the payment. Now if the session dot payment status is paid, then we will create our payment model. You know, we have not used this payment model at all, so we say payment dot object dot create. So here I have to import this payment up here, so I'll say from dot models import, let me just put payment here. So if I come down here, so what are we creating? We want to create first donation, should be donation, then the customer name should be session dot customer underscore details dot name, then customer underscore email should be customer email that we have there, customer email, and also let's say the amount should not be session dot amount underscore total slash divided by 100. Now, you know what, we want to save it to our database. So in this checkout session, we are looking at it as cent, but in this database, like, we divide by 100, like, to get the normal value back. So after that, the payment intent underscore intent underscore ID should be session dot payment underscore intent, like that. So after that, then you can give the status to be equal to completed, like this. So after we have created all these objects, we just return render. We are going to return render. So return render which is going to be request into payment success, payment underscore success dot html. Then I want to pass in something there. Our customer underscore name should be, let's give it like this, customer name should be, so I'll come back here, customer underscore name, like that. So now the next thing we want to do, so payment.objects here, objects.create, put s there, that's why we're having this error. Payment.objects.create. So after that, I'm going to come back here. After, we are going to return a JSON response again. So return JSON response, which is going to be an error. It's going to be an error like this, and then we'll say payment not completed. Then the status is going to be 400. Now this one is not after, is when, let me remove it, that's why it's, yeah, should be somewhere here. So after you try, if everything is like this, then it should be like this, and s should bring out this payment. So the reason for the error is because of the indentation, like that. So then, except, we have used try there, so we have to use our exception now. So except stripe dot error dot stripe error as e, then return, we are going to return a JSON response, which is going to be, let's say, error. Then we are going to give it like, a string. So I'll put it into this curly braces, and then it's going to be string and e error. Then the status, error status is always 400, like that. So now let's look at why is this giving us error. Payments.objects.create, so it should work. So what's the error? What's the problem here? Okay, session.total_amount/100. Oh, we are supposed to give it a comma here. So we are still having another error. So why? Okay, session.payment_intent. Okay, another comma that we are supposed to put there. So we didn't put all the comma there, and so everything is working well now. So the next one we need to do is our payment field. So the payment field. So this for if payment success. What we just did there is that we are trying to get the session ID from checkout section, the donation ID as well. So if the session is not, if it's not the session ID or the donation ID, then it's an invalid session. We are going to return this JSON error, invalid session. But if it is the session, we're going to try this, that the session should be equal to stripe.checkout session, and the donation should be like, we should get the donation ID from our model, which is this donation, and we are getting our customer email and customer name from the session as well. So but if the session.payment status is equal to paid from Stripe, then we want to save all these things into our payment model. So if it's, if we just save it and we are not saving it to anywhere, we will not be able to track, or you will not have a database for all your payments. So if everything is like status is paid, then it will update this in our model. It will save the donation to the donation, the customer name, the customer email, the amount, the payment intent ID, and then to update the status to be what? Completed. And then it will return you to this our payment success.html. But else it will return an error, payments not completed. But except this Stripe error, if there's any Stripe error, it should just return a JSON response for the error. And the error status code is 400. So that's just what we have here. So the next one is to define the payment field. So define payment underscore field. So in this define payment field, it's going to be a request actually, and then let me remove this like this. Yeah, so here in this payment field, so we are just going to get an error message, an error underscore message to be, let's say, request dot get like this, and we are going to get the error. So error slash, the message should not be your payment could not be processed, please try again. Then after that, we are going to return render, which is going to be a request, and it's going to be inside our payment underscore field.html. Then I'll pass in this context. Let's say error message should be a error message like that. So that is all. So the next thing we need to do now is, see, we have this payment success.html and we have this payment field.html, and also in our urls.py we need to pass all this payment success, create set checkout session, and also payment field in our urls.py. Let's do that first. So I'm going to add another part here. So here I'm going to add another path, and it's going to be, first, create checkout session slash, is going to be int the donation underscore, sorry, the donation underscore ID, and then is going to be, we are going to import this. Let me just import everything: create checkout session, payment success, and payment field. So here I'll pass in the create checkout section. I'll give it a name. So the name should be create checkout underscore session like that. And also here, here I'm going to give it another part like this, and this is going to be payment underscore, let's say payment slash success like this. And those, yeah, payment success is going to be it's going to be like payments hyphen success. So then I'll call this payment underscore success and give it a name. Let's say payment success like that. Then also another one, the path for payment field, it should be path like this, and then we have payment hyphen field and also it's going to be payment underscore field, and name should be payment field, like this. So we are done with our checkouts and our URLs. So now let me go back to this checkout.html that we have here. We want to make it that after you click the proceed to make payment, this button that we have here, so it should link you to our checkout session. So how are we going to do that? We are going to use JavaScript. So we are going to use what is called like we are going to use JavaScript to handle that actually. Going to use JavaScript and jQuery together with AJAX. So this part might be a little bit confusing or complicated, but don't worry, just follow the instruction or follow what I'm doing. It's just going to be very easy. So first I need to import a script. So here let's say script, and let's close it. Also script tag, let's close the script tag. So here I'm going to say script source. So that's I want to import, like I want to link jQuery to this project. So it's https like this, then /code.jquery.com/jQuery hyphen 3.6.0.main.js, like this. So after that I'm going to come back down here at the end of this place, like this body tag. So here we are going to write some interesting codes now. So let's say a script tag, and also we are going to end the script tag here. So inside this script tag, the first thing, this is like a JavaScript, AJAX to be precise. So documents like this, document dot ready, let's say function, this jQuery function, then we are going to get something like this. So document dot ready, then we are going to call a function. So the function, the first one should be hashtag checkout button that we have there. So hashtag checkout button. So what we are actually talking about is this checkout button here. It should be small letter, checkout button. So hashtag checkout button, then let's say dot click, then we are going to, if it's clicked, it's going to be another function. Then inside the function we are going to get $.ajax, and then we are going to have this inside. So first the URL is going to be percentage, like the way we do our URL in Python, the create checkout session, create underscore checkout underscore session. Then we are going to pass in our domain, donation.id, just like as if we are linking. So what we are just trying to do is that when this button is clicked, it should link to this URL that we have here. Then aside from that, that's not the only thing that we need to get. We know that the type is the method, like the type should be post, like this, and also the data type, that's why we are returning JSON response. The data type should be JSON. Then I'll have headers to be something like, let's say I'm going to say XCSRF token. In Django we use our CSRF token like this, and then we are going to pass in the CSRF token from our project, from our like Django. So then what else do we need to do? So here it should be in like, that's why it's given here, it should be in the quotation, double quotation like that. So this CSRF token, X CSRF token should be what? This CSRF token. So if you are not familiar with AJAX, don't worry, just continue with what we are doing, just follow the instruction in the code. You should have like a successful project. So then the next thing you want to do is success. So this is just AJAX and jQuery. So then I'll say function response should be, sorry, let me put comma here. So then response is going to be, so it's going to be a function like this. So if I'll say response dot checkout underscore URL, then window dot location dot reference, hyperlink reference should give you response dot checkout URL. But else you should give an alert that something like error unable to process, sorry, unable to proceed to payment. Sorry, everything like this should be one string. So we are leaving an alert like a message like this. This is the message that's supposed to be here. So after that, so after after all this code that we have here from this AJAX, so to this place, I'm going to put, then we are going to get an error. We are going to look for an error. Then it's going to be a function also. So pass in the argument error. Then we are going to say alert payment processing. The message we are going to run there, the message that we're going to give there is payment processing failed. So that will be all. So if you save this, and hopefully if you go back to our browser and we test run it, it should work. So let's go back to our browser now. So I'm going to go back to my browser here. So here, let me refresh it. So we're already having one error, could not pass create checkout session. Okay, where is the error here? Could not pass create checkout section. Oh, the error is because of this command that is there. There's not supposed to be any command there. So I will go back to the code now. So here we don't need this. So let's save and go back to our browser, refresh. So it's currently working. So let me click on proceed to payment. So proceed to make payment. So something is currently not working. Go back to my code first. So if I come back here, okay, why is it not working? First, let me go back up here. Sorry, this script source, this jQuery that we import to our project, so it should be HTTP. Like it's not, I put triple P, it should be double P. And if I save this and go back to the browser, sorry, if I go back to the browser and refresh, if I say proceed to make payment, okay, now we are heading somewhere. We have payment processing failed. That means there's an error somewhere. So if I come back to my code here, there are some couples of errors I'm guessing. So the first one here, let's say we are supposed to pass in our CSRF token here. That is one. And two, if you go back to our views.py, let's see what is missing. The first thing is that we did not import our stripe.api key. So I'll say stripe.api key should be settings.stripe secret key that we import. Stripe underscore secret underscore key. So now, since we are calling this setting, we have to import the settings. So I'm going to say, let me just say settings from Django.conf import settings like this. So now, aside from that thing down, that is gone. The next thing here, this donation ID, we don't need to be double braces, so it should be 1. And also in this part, before the card payment, we need to get the email as well, the customer email. So if I go back there, so here to get my customer email, I'm going to say, so customer underscore email is equal to request.user.email. Then if request.user.email, if request.user dot is underscore authenticated, else it should be none. So what do we do here? So after this session, we are going to get the user email, the customer email, which is going to be request.user.email. So this will only happen if the user is authenticated, and else it should return none. So if I save this, and also let's say we come back to our browser, refresh this page and proceed to make payments. So it said payment processing failed. So now what could the error be again is our settings.py, because everything is fine now. So maybe we are not getting this our secret key from our settings.py. So here our public key, so let's just say I don't want to use this first. I'm going to, like, just for a test first, let me copy this and paste it out, and let me copy this also and paste it out like this. So here, just to, like, we are just using this to debug the error first. Let me comment all this out. So in my .env, let's copy what is here first. So I'll copy this and I'll go back to my settings.py in the public key, paste it there, and I'll go back to this part again. Here I'll copy this, copy, and inside my settings.py I'll paste my secret key here. Yeah, so let's save this now just to see if it will work, and go back to the browser. If I refresh this page and proceed to payment, it's currently working now. So we are seeing that the actual error is the last error we encountered. Why it didn't work before is because of the secret key that is not getting. So everything is working now. If I, let's say, so let's just test our page here. So I already have my email already here. So here, to test it, just use this card 42424242. That's Stripe test card, and your month, let's say 12, the year 30, 1, 2, 3, the full name that's on my name like this, and pick your country, let me say Nigeria, and pay. So it's currently loading. So it says payment successful. We have a payment success page, but it's just going to be template does not exist. Yeah, this is really expected because we have not created this template. But to see that everything is working currently, and also if you go into your admin page, let's say our slash admin. And if you see payment, you should see this new payment that we just made. That's in Ayomide, this payment, and the status is completed. Everything is what working the way it should. It's just some little adjustments that we need to make to it. So now I'm going to go back to the code now. So first thing is that what is wrong with this thing? Is os.getEnv is not working? Let's try another package that might work. I'm just guessing. Let me cut this. Just run pip install let's say python-decouple like this. So it's already installed now. So here I'm just going to say, let's say I'll say from decouple imports config like this, and inside this part let me remove this and let me comment what we have here. I don't need this. So here I'm just going to say, so instead of using os.getEnv, I'll just say config, let's see, public key. And also here, let's put it in something like this. And also here also I'll just say config secrets underscore key. You know, the secret key and the public key is still in this .env, public key and secret key. Make sure you spell them correctly. So if I go back to my settings.py, and okay, we have commented those ones out. Let's run server again to see if it will work. So it's currently loading. It's ready. That's finished running. So let me just go back to, let me come back here. I'll say and proceed to make payments. Proceed to make payments. After it works. Yeah, it's working. So now I think that config is a better option than using .env. If we go back to the code now, we can remove this. We don't need this. So since this one is working as we want, so now the next one, so our payment success page that we are meant to create in this template, let's do that now. So I'm going to create a new file. I'll say payment underscore success.html, and another new one, say payment underscore field.html as well. So in this payment success.html, so in the same way, I'm going to, let's remove this, what we are not using first, and this .env too. Let me remove it first. So in this payment success, I'll change this Django template to HTML, and here I'll get my basic HTML tag. Then the title, let's say payment successful, and inside there we can link our bootstrap here. This link bootstrap, let me copy it inside, we will need it. Payment success, I'll paste it right here. And also in the body is going to be a very simple code. So you just want like div container. So inside this div we have div dot success underscore success hyphen container, and inside we will have div dot success hyphen icon, and inside we'll have our h3 tag. So now inside this one, so this div is going to be closed like this, sorry. Then after this div we have our h3 tag, then the class is going to be empty3 like this, and we have payment successful. And here in this payment icon, I'm going to write this icon like a tick icon and hashtag, just follow the comma 10004 like this. Then after that we are going to have a p dots, it's going to be text muted. Then inside the p tag we have like thank you for your payment. Then we'll have the customer underscore name. Then I'll say your transaction was successful. So that will be all. So after that we are going to link them back to our home page. I'll say a reference just back to the home page like this. Then class is going to be btn home, and the width is going to be 100. So here I'll say go to home page like that. So that will be all. So here in this head tag, let's just write some basic styling, some basic css. So I'm going to say style, and inside the first one, the body, the background color should be hashtag f8 f9 fa like that. Then dot success hyphen container. Then we have max width should be 500 pixel, margin should be 60 pixel auto, the padding should be 30 pixel, the background should be white, and also the border radius should be 10 pixel, and box shadow should be 0.4 pixel, 8 pixel, RGBA. Let me remove everything that's here. So it's 0, 0, 0, then 0.1 like that. And after that, text align should be center. So after that, the success icon, the font size should be 60 pixel, the color should be hashtag 28A745, then .btn home, the button now btn hyphen home. We should have, let's say, a background, and it should be hashtag 007EF like that. And also the color should be white, as well as the font size should be 18 pixel, and font weight should be bold like that. And transition 0.3 seconds is. Then if the btn is over, the btn over background should be hashtag this color 00566 v3, like that. So it's not 566, it will be 56 v3, this color, like that. So that will be all for our what's it called, payment success page. So we can test this page by going to our browser. So here, let's just check out from here. So 424242, then 1230, 123, card holder 13, Ayomide, then pay. It's currently processing and it's successful. Let's see if we are redirected back to our success page. It's loading. Yeah, we are redirected. You see, payment successful. Thank you for your payments. My name, your transaction was successful. Go to home page and we are back at our home page. Now, the last thing, okay, first, remain our payments failed page. Although that payment failed page is not really necessary, it's on rare occasion that you have failed payment. But let's just work on that too. So in this payment success, let me just copy what we have here and also paste it in this payment failed.html. So the only difference is here should be payment failed and here should be payment failed as well. And yeah, thank you, your payments. Let's see, what should we say there? There's something went wrong with your transaction. Instead of this, we should say something went wrong with your transaction. Please try again. So this one, let's change it to 60 for cancel and then save. Let's save this, and here I'm going to cut this and we want our server. So our server is running. So I just want to make okay, it's already live now. If I go back to the browser and click on donate, any one of my choice, proceed to make payments. So it's currently redirecting the Stripe checkout session. So here I want to try a decline card first. So let me say 4000000000 and probably 2 like this, and here 1230 123, this 13 Ayomide again, and then I'll say pay. Thanks. So it's currently loading. So here is your cloud was denying, try paying with a debit card instead. So this is what I actually want to test. So it's on a rare occasion before like we link, before we can before a payment will like go past this stage and go to that like payment success, it will now fail. Then we now say like payments failed. So it depends on payment issues or something else. But majorly everything will be declined and everything will be handled from this checkout session here. So we're actually done with this project. The next thing we really want to do is to add, what's it called, to add our webhook event, because actually what we are actually relying on is like if a payment is successful, we are relying on this success page to tell us that the payment is successful or not. For example, after it's saying after it has been processed and it says success. So we're only relying, okay, wait. So what we're actually relying on is this success page, like this with this address. This is what we are relying on to tell us that the payment is successful or not. But what if something happens, network issue, or someone cancel the browser? So it will not like record it, or we may not be able to, like there may be some problems with the payment. So the best way to handle this is by using webhook. So webhook is just like an event that will send, it will tell us that something has happened even without it getting to this page. So if any payment is successful, we will see it from the back end. That's what the payment is successful. So let's go and set up our webhook event. To set up the webhook, I'll go back to my Stripe dashboard. So if I go back to my Stripe dashboard, so you have your Stripe dashboard looking like this. So the next thing you want to do now is to come to this developer side. So click on this developer and you see webhooks. So click on the webhooks. So your webhook like this, then click on test with a local listener. So click on this test with the local listener and you should have this option popped up. So now to add a local listener, you have some things that you need to do. First, you have to download the Stripe CLI. So click on this download the Stripe CLI. That is the Stripe command line. So to download the Stripe command line, there are three options. So if you are on, like if you want to use Homebrew, if you want to use apps, Yum, Scoop, and different options. If you're on Mac OS, to install it, follow this instruction. If you're on Linux, follow this instruction too. So I'm on Windows. So what did they ask us to do? Download the latest Windows zip file from GitHub. You can click on this GitHub. So you click on this GitHub like this. You can download the latest one from GitHub. So probably the one, let's say this Stripe 1.25 Windows times 8664 zip. If you're on Windows, if you're on Mac OS, you can download this. So I've already downloaded this before. For example, let me just re-download it again to show how it's done. So it's already downloaded. It's already downloading right here. So this is it here downloading. So it's a zip file. So after you have downloaded it, you can just extract it. So this is it here. So if you are here, if you extract it, you can extract it to anywhere you want. In this my own, I extracted in this my user folder in my local disk, and this is the Stripe here. So after you have extracted it, you can just copy, right click on it and say copy as part. So after you have copied it as part, let's go back to our Stripe what's it called, Stripe documentation. Let me go back here. So after you have copied it as part, so if you go back to Windows, sorry, so you have to add it to part. So how can you add it to part? Say add the stripe.exe file to your part environment variable. So how can we do that? If you click on this Microsoft PowerShell documentation, so you would see example. So there are basic set of commands that you can use, but the one I actually use is this to create a new part like this. So this is what I use. So how can you do that? You should enter your like Windows admin PowerShell. Like I press my window X like this, and you use your Windows terminal, which is admin. So after you have clicked your Windows terminal admin, you copy this .env. Now your variable name, you can just say Stripe like this. Then this part should be your part, like the part that you copy. You paste it there. Then you press enter. So it will be added to parts like that. So that's how you can add to parts. So after you have done all that and you make sure that you have installed the Stripe CLI on Windows, if you're on Mac, please follow the instruction like the documentation on Windows and on Mac OS and any operating system you're using. Just follow the Stripe documentation here and do that. So after you have done that, now I'll just enter my Windows. I'll go to my command prompt on my Windows. If you're on Mac, like your terminal. So here I'll do Stripe login. Note, you do this after you have made sure that you have installed the Stripe CLI. So if you do Stripe login, so it will redirect me to Stripe dashboard. Okay, we will wait for some seconds to confirm our authentication. Okay, let me press enter. After you have done Stripe login, just press enter. Then it will redirect you to this Stripe dashboard. On Stripe login, you should have your Stripe dashboard to authenticate your CLI, something like this running on your dashboard. Then the next thing you need to do is just to click on allow access. So after you have clicked on allow access, it should say something like access granted. So you may now close this window and return to the CLI. So if you go back to your command prompts right here, so it will tell you that what done, that the Stripe CLI is configured for default sandbox with account ID. Your account ID will be there. So now we are already authenticated with our Stripe CLI. So the next step now is to go back to our Stripe documentation to see what step it is, what step next to take. So to go back to my Stripe documentation now, I'll go back to my Stripe webhook. So let me remove this and I'll go back to my Stripe webhook documentation. So if I go back to my Stripe webhooks, so the next step is to listen to our API endpoint. But currently we have not created this API endpoint. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my Visual Studio Code now. I'm going to go back to my Visual Studio Code now and I'm going to paste some code. So to write my Stripe webhook API. So now I don't want to make this video very cumbersome and lengthy. So I'm just going to paste some code now. So pause the video and write exactly what you see on your screen. So I'm going to explain them later. So let me paste the codes now. So this is the code for my Stripe API endpoint, starting from this place here down here. So you don't need to worry about the complexity of this. It's just for us to listen to Stripe API, to listen to the endpoint, event endpoint, and it should just print the events with JSON. You should print all the. Don't worry, I will show you what will happen in the next in some couple of seconds now. So first, let us first import this CSRF exempt. So I'll go up here. So to import it, let me just type it. So import from Django.view the decorator import CSRF exempt. So now the next thing we want to do now, so this is just like a view function, which is an API actually. So we are requesting payload, request the body. I don't want to go into the complexity of this thing. So the major thing is just that I want to receive the event. This one, I want to try the events here. So from stripe.webhook.construct_underscore events, we want to get all this payload, sig header, and endpoint secrets. Now our endpoint secret is this. I'm going to show you how we are going to get it very soon. And if there's error, you should paste it here. If there's no error, you should print the payload, that means the event, everything about the event, you should pay it here. And it should return JSON's response with status 200. So now first here, this JSON, so I need to import it. So I'll go up here and I'm just going to say import JSON like this. So then everything should work well. So now here, since we have this, I need to add this to my urls.py. So if I go to my urls.py here, so here I'm going to add a new view that will just add there, that is webhook, Stripe webhook. Now here I will add another path, which is going to be, this path is now going to be, let's say it's going to be let's say Stripe webhook, like this. So it's going to be like this. Then we are going to have our Stripe comma, let me put my comma, then my Stripe underscore webhook, and the name is going to be Stripe webhook as well. Stripe webhook, like this. In a way, instead of just putting hyphen here, let's just do Stripe/webhook like this. Let's make it like this, and the name, let's change this to underscore too. So Stripe/webhook. Now this is the function Stripe webhook and Stripe underscore webhook as the name, like this. Now what's the next thing to do? Let me see if there is no error in my terminal, if the okay, everything is working well. So now the next thing to do, now let's go back to our Stripe webhook documentation or the guide that we are following. So here the next thing is to listen. So we have to listen to this local API endpoint. So now you know our own is localhost, and Django, our Django is not 4242. So Django is 8000 now slash our URL that we give. So I'm going to show you what we want to do now. So let's say let me copy this. I'll copy this like this. Click it, it should copy. I think it's already copied. Then I'll go to my command prompt. So my command prompt here. So here now I'll say, let me paste it here. But now we just have to make some couples of changes. Instead of 4242, it's going to be 8000 like this. And instead of direct webhook, it's going to be the path that we give it here. The path that we give it in our code. Stripe slash webhook. So that's what we want to give it to it. So if I come back here, it's going to be slash stripe like this, then slash webhook. So it's checking for new version, it's getting just well, you just need to wait, it's getting ready. Now there's something I want to explain here. So since we don't have any, we have not triggered any payment, but first look at your webhook signing secret key, this WHSEC. So just copy it like this. You are going to, oh sorry, copy this this thing means webhook secret key. So I'm going to copy it like this. Then I'll go back to my code here in views.py. This endpoint secret key that we have here, I'll paste it here like this. So then save changes. Okay, everything is loading. So you can just, let's try to make a payment to see what we have actually done. So I'm going to go back to my Chrome now. So if you remove this, actually you should have, and let's say we refresh this page first, we should have our endpoint listening. It should show something like is listening to our localhost endpoint first. To your dashboard in this Stripe slash webhook, this your webhook on your Stripe dashboard, you should have something like this. If you have done everything correctly, something like listening, and the localhost URL should be something like this. So now since we have done that, let's just test the payment and see how webhooks actually work. So now I'm going to go back to like our project actually. So let me just maybe go into localhost 8000 or 1.27.0 to 8000. So now let's try to make a payment now. So proceed to payment. These are normal actual projects, right? So I'm going to click on proceed to make payments. So it's currently redirecting me to the Stripe checkout section. I'm currently here now. So the next thing, let's just try to make a payment using my email and a normal Stripe test card 4242424242, and here let's say 1230, our CVC 123, the name on the card, let's say my name like this, then let's say pay. So this is how Stripe Webhook actually works. So after this, after clicking on pay and after it has been successfully processed and your payment is successful, so we are going to receive an event on our Stripe CLI that a payment has already been initiated and the payment intent is succeeded. Not only so, with this it will help us not just only to rely on the Stripe checkout session, this normal success URL that we actually wait for. So now on this payment, okay, now this says the payment is successful, thank you for your payment, that's on your midday. So this is not the only way we can like verify the payment. So now if I come back to my, let's say my code here, in my command line, you see I've received an event to show me that what, look at it, received events, ID, the object, everything about the event, the amount that the person paid, every information about that event is currently here. Although you can still, there's a way you can still like, if you don't want to receive all this information, there's a way we can like reduce it and just get like a payment intent success or something. So I just want to show you the basic form. So the email about everybody, the invoice, every information about the payment is being sent as an event to our, like to my terminal here. And if you check your command prompt or your command line, so here it will tell you charge succeeded, payment intent created, payment intent succeeded, and everything is like the status code is 200 to show that everything is successful. So if I go back to my page here now, so that's just all about how you can integrate Stripe payment integration into your Django project. So thank you very much for watching this video to the end. Support this channel by liking this video, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel. So this is a new channel and we are just going, so your subscription really matters. So thank you for watching this video. See you in my next video.